Oh, freeze. You laugh, baby. I love it.
Yo, I say hola, 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 hola. What's up, baby? You know, we in the building. We in the building. I only get on here when I'm about to do my stuff. Oh, here we go. Got something special for y'all. Something special. Don, I got you. Don, I'm gonna DM you after this interview. We gonna talk. We gonna get it in. Hello. Can't tell you upside down.
How are you?
I'm good. You want to be like upside down like that?
How do I change it? This is my first time on live.
Um, whatever camera you got, just flip it like this.
Like this?
One more flip. There you go. So, what's up, everybody in the building? You know, live with Freeze, you dig? I got Miss Melanin Reigns in here with me. You know what I'm saying? Big E's in the house. But this is like a real dope interview. I can't wait to get this started. Real quick history. When I still had Strongly Radio in 2016, 2017, I think he was one of my guests on there. I gotta look at the date. I might post a picture. But I remember you was a guest on the show and stuff, and I forgot how the interview went, but it was just dope having you. And always, always just checking in with you. Always, support everything you've done. So it's good to
Hold on,
see
let
you.
me put my phone on Do Not Disturb real quick.
Yeah, because the calls will be coming in. You feel me? Big E's in the house, go talk. You know what I'm saying? Okay, glistening. I feel like a pig in a blanket or a pig in the Kia. You dig? Like, listen.
All right, I'm back.
Good. Cool. So for those who just don't know, or been sleeping under a rock or sleeping under a car, you know what I mean, or an American flag, can you give a short bio about who you are?
You said introduce myself.
Yeah, just
So I'm a multifaceted artist. So I do poetry. I make copper jewelry and home decor. I'm a writer, rapper, and so many other things. Right now, I'm a mother. So if my babies start crying, you guys
Congrats.
excuse it. Okay.
How long you been a mom?
Um, what, a month and 3 days now?
Oh, what? For real? That's what's up. One of my cousin just had a baby like a couple weeks ago. One of my guys, that's in his live, he just had a son. Like that's dope.
Aw.
That's dope. Damn. So how is motherhood? Like
It's really good. Like I love the dynamic of, just being able to cultivate my own, little person, and
hmm
it's new, so it is a little, it can be a little hard, but
yeah.
it's really, really suitable for me.
Absolutely. Wow, man. I gotta get up on my grind because everybody I know that are cool with or just see like having kids and stuff. Like I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
does seem like a lot of people have babies. Like a lot of my friends had babies, and I'm just
hmm
like, oh my gosh.
You're a new member of the mommy club. That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. So like raising a kid, like living in America and just kind of dealing with like I guess not just the system, but mentalities, like just a lot of things out here socially. How do you feel like the best way to kind of keep whatever you teach to your child intact?
Just really invest in time. So, before I actually had a child, like I've been staying home, like I work from home, I run my own business, stuff like that. And
hmm
the reason why I cultivated my life like that early on is because I want to be the primary influence in her life.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot going on, but there's a lot of things that I don't do. Like, I listen to certain music, so I'll have my headphones in.
hmm
But for her, I try not to what's it called? I try not to let her hear certain things.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah. They go to youngin. They go to youngin.
I'm sorry.
No, you fine. You fine. You fine. That's all. I'm not direct.
Hopefully, my boo is not like
No, you good. I would tell you, no, you good. On Instagram, they would try to flag it, trying to make it sound like what it is.
But yeah, just really trying to be her primary influence
hmm
and keep a village around her of positive people and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Like, there's just a lot of things I don't condone.
absolutely.
I don't think a child's psyche should be absorbing certain things. So I'm gonna homeschool her, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I said, just keeping a good village around her, and then being
absolutely.
a real positive influence myself. So
Yeah. When I was growing up, I learned about Pan Africanism from one of my instructors who taught Taekwondo. So he had me around like a lot of men that lived the same lifestyle, and they would tell me this like 2002, 2003. They would be like, "Listen, man, like we don't have a TV in my house, like we don't, our kids read books, we do different militant things, and like my mom's kind of like African American, so to speak. So it's pig feet, it's chicken, it's Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. So it's like y'all watch TV, like just kind of like the things that we're told are normal. I guess the things that's kind of passed down to us. Um, we kind of think that it's a norm until we meet others that just kind of have a different teaching, And even with being homeschooled, like I didn't understand the significance because you're like, nah, like you gotta have recess, you got you gotta have lunch or I gotta go to miss such and such class and stuff. But I probably met one person that's been homeschooled and I mean they're still kind of like a social butterfly, they still have that experience. So even when I have a kid, like I'm considering that because I'm we can't really dictate what our child is really learning or like how they're being taught and stuff like that. So that's dope. Like I think that's really dope. You know.
yeah, like I mean, especially now the times we're coming to, even if you don't like homeschool your child specifically, like there's different homeschool networks or just like a childhood learning program that's like advanced.
Mhm.
Because regular school system is a little bit like slow with how they develop children, and then there's a whole bunch of other things that I just don't agree with, and I'm not trying to control her whole life or anything because
Yeah.
you can't control everything, but yeah, I think it's really important. Like I don't have a TV in my house because I don't watch TV. I didn't really like TV growing up either.
Yeah.
So it's beyond just the propaganda, but it is very important to start them off early with good habits. So like there's no iPad. There will be no iPad for her with learning
Mhm.
stuff. Like everything for me is going to be old school, and we're going to keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. So switching gears a little bit, being a small business owner, has like this pandemic kind of like affected you? Maybe has a spike in sales, maybe maybe a somewhat of decline or a little bit of a back and forth. Like what's kind of been just the effect of this pandemic with
So,
your business?
so I do have like property that I rent out. With that, people were canceling trips and stuff like that. So that kind of declined. But when it came to natural products and everything, those services went up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this time has been really good for me because I just had her, and then everything slowed down, and
Mm.
it just seemed like I had time to do more things. So it's a little bit of both. Like I was
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
nervous at first when all like my clients from my rental property were like canceling, but with the natural products and people really getting invested in like spirituality and stuff like that based on what's
Mm.
going on, that's been increasing, so I'm happy.
So you mean rental property like you rent out apartments and houses or?
A house, yeah.
Oh wow.
So just renting out the room, like on Airbnb and stuff like that,
Okay.
to,
Okay.
to make like extra money. A lot of people they want to rent it to one person, but I feel like Airbnb and stuff like that has
Yeah.
been super profitable. You can do parties, you can do other stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that keeps me afloat as well.
Yeah. That's good. So when's the last time you had like a regular job, so to speak, or just a corporate job, a W-2?
I don't remember the year.
Yeah.
I don't remember the year, but the reason why I quit from there was because like it. So whenever Ebola was going on, that's the year I quit. Because
Okay.
I'm Liberian, and one of the comments that one of the guys made, like I had my headscarf on, he was like, "You need to take your headscarf off because people are going to think you're coming from West Africa with Ebola and stuff like that." I'm like, I'm West African, but I've never been yet. My
Yeah.
parents are. So after that, I just, I was like, nah, I can't do this job stuff. So
Can't believe. Wow. Wow. That is weird. That environment is very like tricky. Because it's kind of like you have to put a mask on. You have to kind of like display this certain attitude. They call it business though, like, and you really can't, be yourself and things like that. Like so you didn't feel like like still writing the letter. You just figure like, it's kind of going to keep being like this.
I just so my spirit is just like I was already like even in my class, like I was going to Morgan at the time, and
Hmm.
I would be in class just writing up a business plan and like planning my stuff for my business. So I was just like, let me just spring onto this, and it just worked out for me. Like, I started primarily on Twitter, and like Twitter showed me so much support. So
Yeah.
from there, I just felt really optimistic about it, and I just wanted to keep going. So
Okay.
that's how that worked out.
All right. So you graduated from Morgan?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I had 12 credits left, and I just left. Like,
But you probably got most of the profitable information you needed.
I did. I'll, I'll,
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Okay. So you born and raised here in Maryland? I mean
I'm
Baltimore?
from Pittsburgh.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. So
So when you make the transition here? SG Pride, Shanique, what's up, baby? When did you make the transition to Baltimore?
I think we came. So my parents moved here, which is why I moved here. But I think I was like what in eighth? Yeah, eighth grade.
Okay.
So that was I don't know.
You don't
That
gotta
was a
reveal your
while
age. You
ago.
don't gotta reveal your age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I definitely been here for a while. So I'm kind of from Baltimore too.
Yeah. So being here and kind of just seeing how our community is and seeing at least the urban community or just seeing where a lot of our young boys are and stuff. Do you kind of feel like there's somewhat of an obligation to kind of not only give back but to provide a new lane or provide new different services from what we're kind of introduced to, because it's real here. We got cousins in the system, friends in the system, and a lot of guys just don't really know better. They give their life to the street, and they feel like because there's a camaraderie there, and all of us know, there's no real love in the street or no real progress. Like there's not people making $1 million off of drugs and stuff like that no more. Like, do you feel like it's really important to reach out to our young men and kind of help provide more services for them? Because I'm not really depending on these people that's running for mayor. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important. Like, so I started off with like things like Speak Life Tour, and I work with the mentoring clinic, and I'm their youth counselor and everything. But especially for men who they have an experience and they have something to say, I definitely will say it has a different impact. Like, I've dealt with younger black men and everything, but and they respect me. Don't get me wrong, but I
Absolutely.
really would like to have someone like that they can really identify with. So another black man for them to identify with, because it's important that, like for example, the Sweetie Boys. I always make sure I support them and stuff like that, just because I know that there will be people out there that mess with them, or
Yeah.
the police will pull up and try to aggravate them, or some of them they their mentality is like, okay, if you don't give me $1, I'm gonna go off. But not everybody understands
Right.
those, that type of attitude. So it's definitely important, because they are the ones, like the ones that people think have the bad attitude. Those
Yeah.
are the real innovators, the entrepreneurs, stuff like that. The
Mhm.
boys that's out there selling weed and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the entrepreneurs. So I think it's very important for us to,
Yeah.
get a handle on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you, oh, you don't really watch TV, but I was going to point out something like in The Wire. I don't know if you ever, I know you heard of it and stuff, but there was I think in the third season, like one of the police commissioners, in order to get crime down in his district, he allowed drugs to be sold legally in certain zones where people didn't live, and though it worked for a while, so to speak, it was a big uproar because the newspaper found out, and as I got older, maybe in the last 2, 3 years, I really see that it's kind of like a replica of that, because on certain streets or certain strips, drugs are just sold up and down all day, and this police is chilling at the end of the block, kind of regulating things. But it's like, unfortunately, as soon as these guys, the police leave, a killing happens, or a shooting, or things get crazy. But they're not shutting nothing down. I could literally go to the store and buy weed from 6, 7 dudes if I wanted to. So like, how I just think, how do you just feel about how how our community deals with law enforcement?
I definitely, so I know, what's it called? Lexington Market definitely came to mind when you were talking about that, because I feel like they do that there. When it comes to law enforcement, I feel like we need our own type of like OGs protecting, what's
Yeah.
going on, because I can't say, everybody needs to stop selling drugs, because I don't know what,
The circumstances, yeah.
what they're doing it for, and I don't want to excuse it, but I know it's a resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely feel like we need to separate ourselves, though, because with things like that, like they can easily come, like say, okay, I see 7, black boys out here let's round them up, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to police, they're trying to meet a quota. Like they have to, in order for them
Yeah.
to get paid, they got to meet their quota. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a trap. And in order for us to get ahead and to really help those boys, we have to put our energy into making sure that, you know, we have people out there like what they call neighborhood watch, but it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be snitching, you know. We
Of
can
course.
just take care of the community
Yeah.
so that they can, because it's real easy. Like I tell people all the time, like for example, if you see a police in a bar and the police is just chilling and they see you drinking and they see you going to your car, they can wait until you pull off to just, you know, pull you over.
Yeah.
So we got to think about how strategic they are in
Absolutely.
terms of stuff like that.
Yeah, because I live we moved near like Northern Park and Park Heights like a couple years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and we're like right next to where like the Jewish community kind of takes over, and like I've probably seen since I was a kid how they are so isolated from everything that's going on in the city. They have their own patrol, they have their own markets. Like they actually took over like a super fresh that used to be over one of these streets, and it's just a market strictly for them, and I always wonder, like, how can they get? They even had bus lines only dedicated for like their students and stuff, like their own education, everything. And I'm right here and I'm seeing it, you know. So it a lot of I know like maybe in the last 3, 4, 5 years I've seen like our people, black people talk about we need more of this, we need to start more of this, we need to they push this idea of black business, but it's one thing when you actually witness it and you actually witness like a race or a ethnic group actually building the pieces together and slowly just doing it, you know. Do you feel that kind of social media maybe like sends a lot of smoke and mirrors about what we really need to do as a people, as a community?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of intellectualizing things and
Yeah.
not like actually applying it. And then we go on to have like the same conversations over and over. Oh, black people need this, black people need
Yeah.
that. But you know, and like one of the things I try to do is just go to a few like black owned restaurants and like
Yeah.
really just talk to them. But the energy I kind of got is like everybody wants to be in their own space. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to say, I got this shop, I got this restaurant, and a few of those places actually ended up closing down.
Right.
So I do feel like social media gives us like a platform to talk and talk and talk all day
Yeah.
and not realize how easy it is. Another thing that I realize is the like real estate agents. Like I know a lot of real estate agents, a lot of
Right.
you know, people who invest in property, but instead of them coming together, you know, to buy a block, which is not expensive in Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everybody's in their own corner. They want to brag about what they do, which is fine. But it's like then you can't complain about gentrification because the people they're gonna look at the trash on the street. They're gonna look at these broken down places and take opportunity. But
Mm-hmm.
if we don't take opportunity, you know, somebody else will. So I definitely feel like with all its goodness, because social media is awesome as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it leaves a platform for too much talking and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not real connection. You know,
Right.
anybody can hop on your status and be like, yeah, you know, yeah, invest in stocks or something like.
Yeah.
We always talking about stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I
It's
feel
it's
about
it's weird, you know, because it's just a lot of like intellectual gang banging to where like you look on posts and people really having arguments for 2 days, and you know it. I just learned to kind of buckle it down to okay, this is your opinion, this is mine. Either we work together, or we can't, but don't use your like intellect as a weapon in order to make yourself seem more, I guess, lit or get the most comment likes. Because it's
it.
weird, like you know, I just feel like you know, like you said, like there's things you just put into action, and it's a part of your mentality. It's not really about you know, I know this and you don't. So what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? But speaking of gentrification, do you feel that what's going on in this city and a lot of cities is morally wrong, or do you feel that, like you said, there's just opportunities to be taken advantage of because there's financial gain or there's just longevity in certain projects that's being built up?
You know, so it's both. Like I see both perspectives. I definitely don't agree with what they do because, you know, their way of going about things is always wrong. So,
Mm-hmm.
but also I do see that, you know, you don't want to keep walking down the street and seeing trash everywhere or like broken down houses and stuff. So
Absolutely.
it's I feel like it should be more of a responsibility of the people that live in that community.
Mm-hmm.
But also I feel like when the government or whatever you want to call them, when they do come in, they should really focus more on rebuilding the place, but not pushing people out,
Mm.
which is not gonna happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So do you feel that I guess do you think we need more quote unquote black representation in public offices like City Hall, like on the councils and and Congress and stuff like that?
I think we need more genuine people. Period. Like,
Yeah.
because we have, it seems like Baltimore's had the black mayors and stuff, and I don't know too much of the details, but we need people who care about the community. We need somebody like, I don't know if you're familiar with, I forgot his last name, but his name's Christopher. Like someone I can identify and say that, okay, this person's been working with children, this person's been in the community, this person's been doing genuine stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's who we need, because not a lot of black people are too indoctrinated to
Yeah.
get everything done, and so they go into these offices and they want to people please, and that does not work out. So more so than just black, yes, we do need black. Don't I'm not trying to say we need other people, other
Right,
races,
right, 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 right.
but we need genuine black people
Mm-hmm.
who really do what they need to do for the community instead of playing around.
Yeah. So okay, switching gears to a little more personal, not personal of you, but if someone wants to, if someone comes to you and say, I want to live a better life, I want to live more fruitful, I feel like I need to find myself. What are the few points of advice you give them?
Stillness, just being to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's something with this, what's it called?
Pandemic.
Yeah, with this pandemic, I think it's really forcing people to be still
Yeah.
and go within themselves, because that's how you find yourself. Like you can read books, you can watch Hidden Colors, you can do all those type of things, but the best thing for you to do is be still, because that'll make you genuine. Like when you can listen to your own spirit,
Yeah.
you can listen to your own path, and you don't have to compare yourself to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing for it,
Okay.
in my opinion, anyway.
So do you feel that in being still, is it really just meditating? It's like being with your own thoughts. Is it So I've talked to a lot of people, and they say sometimes weed consumption helps with meditation. You kind of stay within your thoughts, because me personally, I'm in my head a lot, but sometimes the intake does help a little bit. You're able to focus. So do you say yoga? Do you say probably maybe weed intake, maybe meditation kind of falls under stillness?
So again, it will be like, you got to know yourself. For me in my journey, like I did start off like I would go into the woods and I would smoke, and
Mm-hmm.
I would just look at like the screens and stuff, and so I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend relying on weed,
Yeah.
but it does spark a very interesting part of the brain. Meditation also, but with meditation, I feel like everybody should be themselves when they're doing it. Like there's no one way to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes if you're on your way to work and you just can lay your head back in the car before you enter work and just give yourself 5 minutes where you can just let your thoughts free flow or
Yeah.
silence your mind, whatever it may be for you. I think that works. Yoga works as well, just as far as like how it changes your blood circulation, and
Mm-hmm.
like just what it does for your body as far as stress. So all of those things work, but sometimes other people might draw, they might write,
Mm-hmm.
making music. All those things count, and you can just use whatever your gift is to really heal yourself.
Okay. And so like you said, so for people that maybe that may can't that may have to work, to support their family or financially reach a certain goal, you probably recommend them to find as many moments of stillness as they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause work is
Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah, I know a lot of people complain about that,
Hmm.
family, maybe children,
Yeah.
work and stuff like that. But you have to find time, and we usually have time. We just spend it like maybe scrolling on the phone or something like that.
Hmm.
We have
Hmm.
time, and it's
Yeah.
good to even if you're in the shower, if you got to do it with your babies. Like sometimes my baby's up and we just meditate together.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you just have to find the time to do what, especially if it's making you feel better.
Yeah.
You want
Definitely. Definitely. So you said you're a rapper. So when, I'm not gonna ask you to rap, but when did you kind of start? I guess writing lyrics or wanting to curate raps?
maybe like so Vibration, the song that I have, Vibration, was like the first song I ever written. But me and
Okay.
my cousin, like a long time ago when we were younger, we played around about starting a group, and I was gonna rap and she was gonna sing. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess it really started there, but I really didn't start rapping until like I want to say maybe 2 years ago, 2 3 years ago, and
Oh,
then I started to make music, and I just have fun with it. I'm not one of those hardcore like the
yeah.
best female MC.
Yeah.
None
You
of
just
that.
making it for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you like? I guess we like most about the process. Do you like writing? Do you kind of like, I guess, recording it? Do you
Hmm.
play instruments too?
You said what?
Do you play instruments as well?
I play the guitar. I just
Nice.
started replaying the guitar again. My dad plays the guitar, so that's where I got that from.
Oh,
But my favorite part of the process, I want to say, is probably, being in the studio and then like my engineer would put a beat on, and then like when I just love the whole process. I don't think I can
yeah.
fit in between writing and
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah. Do you and of course, like I said, you're not, not trying to be like, the most competitive in the world and all this other stuff. But do you have people that kind of influence you, whether it's what is quote unquote unknown artists or mainstream artists? Do you have people that's kind of just influence you or help kind of spark your creativity?
I'm not even. I'm so big on just doing me. Like I
Yeah,
don't. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
to hear anybody else. Like
Right.
when I know I'm about to go make music. I don't.
Mhm.
But I have a lot of people who I really admire. Like some in Baltimore, um, like Ashley Sierra. I love her. Love her
Shout out to
style.
Ash.
She's dope.
Hmm.
Jada Lioness. I love her style. She's super dope.
Hmm.
Those are the first two that come to my mind. So I really love the way they carry themselves as artists. But as far as like being influenced by, nah.
Yeah,
But you know what? Subconsciously, I can tell that I am influenced by certain artists.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know,
Nothing new under the sun. That's what's up. That's
yeah.
dope though. You play the good. Are you? How good are you at the guitar? Like you still kind of learning it, or you got a good curve on it?
I'm definitely getting back in my flow. I'm
Yeah.
not like professional or anything. I used to be really good. I used to play the trombone and I used to play the guitar.
Mhm.
But once I stopped, I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
right now, I'm really good with like playing to my own music. But
Yeah.
I want to learn how to be able to, do anything.
No, I would definitely look up some of your music. I'm definitely looking up see what you're working with. Definitely.
Yes.
So
Please do. I think I make good music. Like I
yeah,
really
yeah,
do.
yeah.
You know? But everybody thinks that. So.
I feel you. I feel you. So last subject we're gonna touch on like love and relationships. Like I say, just sometimes when I scroll on social media and I see just people posting these memes, it's like a lot of us are projecting I guess our idea of what happened to us in relationships. And Ali Botho, what's up? Um, and it seems like we post certain things that are kind of I guess direct about our situation and a lot of times it seems like we're regurgitating toxicity, whether it's male, female, or whatever, and there's really there's really I just see a lot of people projecting their anger and not really trying to at least project some kind of solution or some kind of idea of how it's going to be on the next go round or what you should go for. And I think me personally, like I think maybe in January I just started making like random posts about a bae. I'm single, but I'd rather put that energy out there that has some kind of effort of love instead of like ragging on a female I dealt with that made me upset or stuff like that, because people watch whether they like or comment or not, so sometimes we can put energy out there that's not even who we are at the moment, but it may just be how we feel, so how do you feel? I just think maybe how do you feel about how maybe some of our peers or maybe how you yourself have dealt with I guess monogamous relationships and the ideas of it and how we can be better at communicating.
So monogamy, like, so I've been able to experience more than just monogamy, and I feel like, a lot of people try to make it seem now like monogamy is like so possessive, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like it's like you have to start with yourself number one. So if you don't love yourself, trying to love a partner is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that like foundation with somebody, trying to include multiple people is just going to be confusing.
Yeah.
So I think right now, we have a lot of toxic this, toxic that, and everybody
Yeah.
wants to like make it a joke. But it just goes to show a lot of the relationship we had with our parents, the relationship we had with the country we live in.
Yeah.
So it's like something that's, we're used to like that abusive type of relationship, even if it's like on a very small scale.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like the best thing to do is go within yourself so that you can attract what you really want. And
Yeah.
you just have to stop settling. Like early on in relationships, you don't have to stay with somebody forever. So we don't have to take those things so negative. So we have to change our perspective on like how we're dating. We have to be intentional. We have to communicate from the jump, like, hey, this is where I'm trying to go, where are you trying to go?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't apply, then you have to know to let that person go. And the next person isn't wrong. Like the guy that wants to date 30 women is not wrong. The girl that wants to date 30 men is not wrong. But you can't get with somebody that wants to be in a monogamous relationship. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of honesty that needs to be added. People need to know you don't have to be in a monogamous relationship. Like you can do whatever you want, but you should be honest about that so that we can see where all other people are hurting. People smoke a lot, drink a lot. It's coming from hurt. So if we want to be intentional and like put that vibration out there, the best thing to do is be honest. And just, not be so uptight about, like we don't got to get married just because we've been together. Like if we know that we're not fully compatible, like maybe we should just enjoy the few months we have together, keep it moving on a positive note, stuff like that. But we can't stick to tradition anymore. But also it shouldn't be like one of those things where it's like, oh, polygamy is better, because it's not. Like I've had all of those different relationships, and they all have their own strength within them.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, if you can't do monogamy, you can't do polygamy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've talked to someone before, and they told me, we were talking about relationships, and they were saying, I want my next relationship to be my last because I'm almost 30, and I'm not really getting any older, and I want my mom to come to my wedding and all these things, and we kind of had a little debate because I told her, like, I think the reasons you're putting this clock on yourself based on like things that you have to just spend material money on, like a wedding. Like, we have a wedding in my backyard, and it costs maybe $70 to get some steaks, and we're nice, rather than this huge venue and this doves flying and stuff like that. And I think we buy into like materialism, and we buy into the celebration. But unfortunately, maybe sometimes 10 years, 5 years, 20 years down the road, these relationships don't work out because we're settling, like you said, into like dealing with the person, and I just feel like it's kind of I was scared to kind of get married because I'm like, I don't want to do it just so I can, kind of just play dress up and then just kind of remember these landmarks, but I'm not really happy, because I'm very much concerned about the day to day, like how can we balance each other, or like can we spend space from each other, or my plans for life, your plans of life, do they align with each other? Are they parallel? And a friend of mine told me, well, you should definitely get married because what if you need something to pass down to your kids? You have a trust and things like that. If you want to build generational wealth, so I ain't gonna lie, I'm on the fence. I just including the government. That's just the part I'm concerned about. I need to talk to somebody about just that inclusion, if that's if that'd be my case. But I don't know. Like right now, I think one of the parts of my journey is like finding myself and getting to know myself better. So now I figure, from me not being the best partner in past relationships, now I'm trying to figure like every small thing I do, what can I do better? Even improving the relationship with my mom to understand women from a different perspective, because it's hard, and when you kind of grow up, you're in your 20s, you got ego, you got ambitions, you're just out here in the wind, you're not really paying attention to how other people feel that's in your space, especially somebody you're intimate with. So like that's probably been like one of the biggest things I learned. So all those things I post about a bag, I'm gonna do that. I promise.
I know, I love your statuses. They're
I appreciate that. But yeah. So we almost at the finish line. So just tell me anything you got going on with future plans, or just things you want to do business wise, or just any aspirations you have, at least for the next year or so, until this whole pandemic is over and all that.
So right now I'm just enjoying being a mom.
Yeah.
But I am going to start my own podcast because I've been asked. I'm going to get back on my YouTube channel. So I have a lot of rebranding and like just returning to do. That's a time out to obviously have my baby.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, I will just be back with music, everything that I used to do, jewelry, everything
Oh,
at melaninrings.com always.
oh,
Um, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing an actual ride with Freeze. I thought those were
yes,
cool. I really like those.
it will be definitely. Then we set something up. I got different ideas. I got different